Yo, so OBJ is a Raven. You know I got all the reaction. You know I got a lot of thoughts on it. I know what the Ravens should do next, what they could do next, what they maybe should do next. We will get there. You also see there Lamar Jackson versus Kirk Cousins. I came across a very interesting, comprehensive breakdown in terms of how Lamar got what he got and how Kirk Cousins got what he got, and how we can kind of compare and contrast the two, whereas Lamar might really be the next Kirk Cousins from a contract standpoint. We will get there. And also, if you're an NBA head like me, you saw it yesterday. Rudy Gobert, the Stifle Tower. Good Lord, what a disaster he's been for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And we will re-examine that trade and just show how pathetic that trade was, how problematic that trade was, and what the hell can the Timberwolves do as they now face the LA Lakers with LeBron, with AD, with all the Timberwolves castaways in the play-in. We will get there. But first, and I appreciate those likes coming in. Please keep those coming in. We're trying to build this thing, make this thing very, trying to build a community of smart sports fans, not just sports fans with hot takes, not just sports fans who just listen to what, the 4-letter network and the 3-letter network tell them. I'm trying to build a community here of sports fans that are educated, that know what they're talking about, can cite sources, can go look up stuff and research. This is what I want to build. I know it's not going to be the uber popular hot take over the moon. This guy's the greatest over this guy, but we're building momentum here on this channel of people that like sports, enjoy sports, and actually have a clue of what they're watching and can actually, articulate those things. If you like that type of content, if you think you're someone who's like that, hit that subscribe button, pull up, because that's the type of content I'm going to be providing to you. So we will jump in the comments early. I see you, Boogie Down. Boogie Down's been here. Oh yeah, you know what time it is. You know exactly where I'm going with the stream. So buckle up. I don't know if it'll be a 3-hour joint like how we used to do, but it could be one of those ones today. Once we get this thing up and rolling. Let's see. Lamar Jackson finally got a #1 receiver. Took the Ravens 5 years. Yes, and I do have some research and some stats on that as well in terms of how much money the Ravens have invested. Yes, they have invested first-round picks, but in terms of financially, what have they invested in the receiver position, especially while they've had Lamar Jackson? So we're going to be on that type of time. Joshua's pulling up. What's good, Joshua? This season has been strange. It is hard to tell how to take this signing. I am not sure that I like it. Interesting. I mean, if this is a catalyst to bring Lamar back, what's wrong with this deal? It's a 1-year prove-it deal. If Lamar, you know what? Let's just go ahead and start, right? OBJ to the Ravens. Josh, I got you. I would definitely comment on that, but let me set this up. So we started, what was that, on Friday? Or Saturday. Saturday, we get this T from Josina Anderson. I'm told free agent wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. is planning to fly into the New York area Sunday to meet with the Jets Monday, per him. So no sources close, no an insider, no a person familiar with the thinking of, no. OBJ himself told me, Josina Anderson, he going to New York on Sunday to meet with the Jets. Now, was this, using the leverage? Was this a leverage play? Having Odell leak to Josina Anderson, who has credible sources throughout this league from a team standpoint and from a player, manager, agent standpoint? Was OBJ using the card of, well, I know Josina, she's got a big following. I'll leak her this tea that I'm flying up to Sunday to apply pressure on the Ravens. Was that a thing? Well, about a day later, which was yesterday, a little bit over 24 hours later, we get this tweet from Josina. Yesterday, OBJ told me that, quote, he was feeling more love from the Ravens, end quote, even though he was set to visit the Jets on Monday. Now, you see that? Jets Monday, consistency, Jets Monday. Odell always follows his heart. Today is no different. We have OBJ with his son decked out in Ravens gear. And lo and behold, you know what jersey that is? It is Lamar Jackson's jersey. So within a span of 24 hours, he went from using leverage to get the Ravens to cough up the bread. And you know what? Ravens coughed up that bread. And then the Ravens used their social media account to show us that LBJ and Odell are FaceTiming. So a lot has happened. A lot has transpired. Here's the funny part. Lamar Jackson, him being on the Ravens social media account with all the airing out he's done of them this entire offseason is kind of humorous, but it is what it is, especially when you're trying to show, hey, we got him some help. Clearly, Lamar was involved in the recruiting of Odell Beckham Jr., and now we have a thing rolling. Does this mean Lamar is going to come back into the fold? Does this mean the Ravens and Lamar Jackson are actually closer to getting a long-term deal done than we're being led to believe? Where do you stand? I'm here to tell you, I don't think they're no closer than they were before this Odell Beckham Jr. signing. I think Lamar is going to come back and do the Kirk Cousins, come back and take that tag, whether he shows up week 1 or week 10. I think now that he has Odell, this is more incentive for him to just pull up and accept the tag at 32.4 and just take his medicine. Still good money, still a good check. These other teams are running scared or collusion, whatever you want to believe, but other teams are kind of falling back and not willing to stick their neck out and say, we want in on Lamar Jackson, because ultimately they probably feel the Ravens are going to match no matter what they do. Even if you try to put a poison pill in that contract to try to thwart them from potentially signing OBJ and matching that offer sheet, it doesn't matter. The Ravens know the end game here is you need number 8 week 1. And that's why, to me, it's leverage. Now, I felt the leverage could have been used to get the money that he actually does covet. I felt the leverage that Lamar has over the Ravens could get them to acquiesce and give him, whether it's fully guaranteed money throughout the contract or just more guaranteed money than Deshaun Watson. I feel Lamar Jackson has that leverage. Now, whether he agrees with that, nothing we could say about it. But maybe in him falling back and assessing, oh, the teams are running scared, teams that potentially could want me, Falcons, Raiders, all these teams are running scared. Okay, cool. Collusion, cool. All right, you know what? Here's my leverage. Go get me some damn help before I come in here and sign that 32.4 tag. Go get me some help. And I think that's where we're at here. And that's something I referenced a few weeks ago, that the only way, if I was Lamar, to where I would accept a lesser term deal in terms of a standard NFL contract, the one that Patrick Mahomes is on that has a lot of funny money, the one that, who else? We got Josh Allen, funny money. Kyler Murray, funny money. Instead of fully guaranteed money like Kirk Cousins, fully guaranteed money like Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers, fully guaranteed money. Let's throw him in there because that extension he got is fully guaranteed. That's why the Jets are coming around here, restructuring contracts, trimming that salary cap, because they got to get all that money in. They want A-Rod that bad. Okay, 60 of them M's is coming along with him. So this could be a leverage play where Lamar's like, y'all better get me some damn help or I'm not showing up. Yeah, other teams might be running scared, so you might have got me there. The collusion worked. You got teams that clearly need an upgrade at QB, and they're all running around telling me, oh, we like Sam Howell, who played all of one game. Oh, we actually like Desmond Ridder, who played all of 4 games. Okay, y'all got me there. But you know what, though? You still need a quarterback week 1. You dangled the report out there about Baker Mayfield. Ain't nobody copping to that. Even Baker knew, I'm not signing that contract. I want to start. At the end of the day, y'all need Lamar more than y'all need me. I signed this deal thinking I got a chance to start. Then y'all spin the block on Lamar. Now I'm sitting here. Maybe I'm even behind Huntley if y'all go bring him back too. So the leverage play is, if you want me there week 1, if you want me there for OTAs to learn this new offense, you got Roman up out of there. You want to bring in a more pro-style offense, very similar to how I excelled at Louisville under Petrino. You want to bring in that type of style offense? Cool. You want me there week 1? Go get me some damn help. And that's what I think he got in Odell Beckham Jr. Now, is he DeAndre Hopkins? No. But Odell is way better than currently was on that roster. And outside of DeAndre Hopkins, who else is actively available that is better than Odell Beckham right now? Who? They arguably got the second best receiver on the market. And people can cry about the contract. If I have the second best receiver available on the market, yeah, you're going to have to give him 15, 18 mil. Yeah, he asked for 20. Now he's settled at 18, and he has a quarterback that he believes in. They're partying at Live last night. You know what type of time it is when it's Live on Sunday. King of Diamonds Monday. You know what type of time it is. So I'm not mad at this. I like it. I think it's an aversion to the leverage play we've been speaking about here on this stream, is that Lamar has the leverage. Whether the leverage is give me the fully guaranteed money, like Kirk Cousins, like Deshaun Watson, like Aaron Rodgers, or give me at least more guaranteed money than Deshaun Watson, or if you want me to take this 32.4 tag and show up for OTAs, post-draft camps, mini camps, all of that stuff, to get ingratiated into this new offense, they go get me some damn help. And the Ravens, so we think, stepped up for once. To the comments. Yes, we are definitely fired up today. I hope y'all know what type of time we're on today. We are fired up here. This stream should be lit. If you are in here and you are liking the content, hit that like. If you are in here and you think the Ravens made a mistake signing OBJ, hit that like. If you are in here and you think the Ravens as a front office finally did their damn job in getting Lamar Jackson some help, hit that like button. You kind of pick up on the theme of what yeah. So Joshua is in the comments. Feel free to hit the chat. We are in the chat heavy. This stream does not ignore the chat like other streams. I listen to y'all. I see what y'all are putting in. Sometimes it's great stuff. Sometimes it's good stuff. Sometimes it's interesting stuff that makes us pivot. But we are in the chat. Let's get it cracking. So Joshua earlier said this season has been strange. It is hard to tell how to take this signing. I'm not sure that I like it. I think right now, Joshua, you have to at least see this through. Let's see Lamar with a guy that still has remnants of being a number one. Now, here's the thing. People are already jumping out there trying to insinuate, like, all right, Lamar, well, you good now. You got OBJ. You still got Mark Andrews. We're going to see if this Bateman thing can work out. You should be good now. Don't fall for that. Do not fall for that. The Ravens still need to be actively out here surrounding this man with help. The Eagles could have stopped and said to Jalen Hurts, yo, dogs, we gave you Devonta Smith. You got Dallas Goedert. You got Miles Sanders. You don't need no more help. But you know what they did? They went out there and got A.J. Brown anyway. We're just going to overwhelm you with help. We're going to make your job as easy as possible. Tua Tagovailoa, they could have stopped at Jalen Waddle. They could have said, all right, we gave you a receiver. We gave you Jalen Waddle. No. They went out there and said, you know what? We're going to give you Tyreek Hill too. We're going to make this job as easy as possible. Only the Ravens have made this job harder and harder and harder, pause, for Lamar Jackson. Sammy Watkins, Who else? Deshaun Jackson, Dez Bryant, Snead. We went through the list last week on this stream of all the receivers. And it's like, oh my God, like how could you expect this man to succeed? How could you expect this man to succeed? But that's where we're at now. Go get that man more help. If DeAndre Hopkins is available, go get him. There's some tea floating around about there's a lot of NFL execs that don't like this year's draft class of receivers. If that's the case, there's people out there that are saying that the only receiver worth a damn in the first round, the only receiver worth a damn that has a first round grade is Smith and Jigba. So if it's only JSN, that means you might get Johnston out there at 22. Yes, you can still figure out what Bateman is, but if Johnston is there from TCU at 22, you have to consider that. Overwhelm them with your offense instead of hoping you could win every game 17-14. Joshua in the comments. Let me move this up so y'all can read along. I would like to see something more long-term. I appreciate the fact that the Ravens investing on offense, knowing the Ravens. I hope that the Ravens do not use this as an excuse to not sign more weapons. I agree with you. Give him more help. Surround him. Overwhelm him with help. Overwhelm him. You want to say if he's more than a running back? You want to prove the naysayers wrong about the alleged, he's missing wide open receiver? You want to put all that to bed? Put top tier talent around him. Now, if you still see people with those narratives after a year with a lot of weapons, then either A, there's something to it, or more naturally, B, they're haters. There's a lot of hate on Lamar. He doesn't look the part to some. He doesn't play the part for others. There's a lot of people out there on that type of time. Alex saying there aren't any closer. Any closer to what? You're saying OBJ is a nothing move? You telling me Perryman and Bateman is a better 1-2 than Bateman and Odell? Is that really where we're at, Alex? I don't know. You tell me. Joshua, we need a new QB and a receiver. Do not give Lamar a new contract. Trade him and move on. Yikes. I don't know what y'all saying, man. I don't know. Josh, I'm not mad at it. Like, if that's how you feel, clearly you follow this squad. But I just don't understand that logic, to be quite honest. I don't understand that. Like, I get it if you're just done with the drama. There's certainly a piece to that, right? And I'm not saying you're wrong. This has been a lot of drama back and forth in regards to this team and this quarterback in this situation. But at the end of the day, whether through collusion, whether through teams being scared, whether through, mandates by the league to not give this man his money, he's most likely not going to get an offer sheet signed pre-draft, and I'm starting to think not even post-draft. So if that's the case, you're not losing Lamar. Worst comes to worst, you have until July 17th to sign him to a long-term deal. I don't see that happening. So worst comes to worst, he's back on the tag for 1 year at 32, and we're back here again next year trying to figure this out. But at least you get to see, again, barring injury, because again, everyone keeps saying how Lamar is injury prone, barring injury, and now we got to worry about Odell being hurt. Barring injury, if these two guys play, 90% of the games, 95% of the games, I just want to see what that looks like in an offense that is allegedly supposed to be airing it out this year in a pro-style offense. Boogie down. You need a new QB. Why would you want to move on from a QB who's 45-16 as a starter? At this point, Raven fans that don't like OBJ starting to think it goes beyond football. For some, that might be the case. I'm not sure if that's the case here with Joshua, but I think there is a sect of people that they think of Lamar as less than what he is, and I'm really not sure what the basis is for that. I don't know if that's based off stats. I don't know if that's based off what they've heard from others. I'm not sure, but something is to me not really clicking when that's the analysis. Alex Tua needed O-line help, though, before he gets knocked completely out of the game. But here's the thing with that, Alex. Even with a suspect O-line, and trust me, they were worse even before they upgraded that O-line. They had one of the worst O-lines, I think, by Pro Football Focus. They were one of the worst ranked O-lines in history no more than 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So, like, that O-line that was sus last year was even worse prior to that. But it didn't matter, right? Because they had Waddle and Tyreek Hill running non-routes on each side, burning dudes. It didn't matter. Like when Tua was upright and wasn't being concussed, his job looked really easy at times. He was an MVP candidate the first quarter and a half of the season. Boogie down. We need a burner, just pure speed. We got 2 tactical great route runners now in Bateman and OBJ. I agree. You need someone to take the top off the defense. You need someone that draws that bracket coverage over the top. It doesn't appear that person is on the roster, and I don't think Quentin Johnston fits that mold either at 22 in the first round. But I do agree they need to prioritize speed. Now that they have, if Odell is even 90% of what he was as a Giant, and if he's even 90% of what he was as a Ram before he got hurt, that's still the best receiver Odell Beckham. That's still the best receiver Lamar Jackson has ever had. Alex is saying they aren't any closer to a deal with Lamar. I would dispute that. I think if you're talking about a long-term deal, I agree with you. I think the compromise here is they got him help, so now he's more willing to not sit out. I think that's the deal. If you're talking about they're not close to a long-term deal, I agree with you. I think the issue now is this a compromise for him to be able to pull up now and at least report to minicamp, OTAs, all of that, and get started in this new offense. So whether you want to say it's any close to a deal, I tend to agree with you, but I think in regards to the main issue is they need him to show up. There is nobody that they can get off the street who can fill in and be a replacement. No one. They need a QB1 for week 1. Their QB1 wants help. Who has the leverage? The QB1 who doesn't have to show up week 1. Joshua, I do not like the drama. Having some certainty at key positions would be good to know. If Lamar gets hurt, we cannot afford to keep on choking every year. I don't know if the choking has anything to do with Lamar, though. I think the days of y'all having a dominant defense are pretty much over. I think the days of expecting to win every game 17-14 are over. You got to score in this league now. There are too many teams that have given their quarterbacks weapons that you can't still be out here trying to win games 17-14. You can't. The Jets were trying to win games 10-7 every game last year because their offense couldn't score. Now they realize, dog, we just need a quarterback that can put some points up. Alex saying the long-term deal is not happening. Cool. Then that leads to my next subject of Lamar Jackson versus Kirk Cousins. I think he's going to do the Kirk Cousins thing. Play out the tag these 2 years and walk away. Cool. I think if the Ravens are dead set on not giving him the money he covets, then cool. You do what the Washington football team did with Kirk Cousins. Let him get his money in terms of the franchise tag. I don't think they could convert the non-exclusive to exclusive for this year, but certainly next year, if both sides know we can't get a long-term deal, okay, well then pay him the exclusive deal next year, so you can at least give him a little pay bump on the way out, and then you move on. That's it. So, of course, with everything, we have some reaction to this story. Warren Sharp. See what he is? He does a lot of analytics, data, metrics, things of that nature. Also could break down some contracts for us. Ravens' largest per year average contracts given to wide receivers since Lamar Jackson became starter in 2019. $15 million for Odell Beckham. And here's the rest. Willie Snead, Sammy Watkins, Nelson Aguilar. We've already forgotten Aguilar, right? You would think he could take the top off the defense, but I don't know if I trust that. Rashard Bateman, Hollywood Brown, Seth Roberts. Look at these numbers. Okay? Now, granted, a couple of them are rookie deals, but even in terms of free agents, Sammy Watkins, Nelson Aguilar, these are not receivers that were highly thought of. So look at the level of talent Lamar Jackson's been given as a tenure, during his tenure as a starter. These are not receivers you're going to write home about. You're expecting him to get how many wins? If you look at his record, and I'm telling you, these are the receivers he's had during that tenure, would you predict him to be damn near 30 games over 500? When I'm telling you these are his receivers? That's the problem when people want to trash, the wins-loss thing, or say, wins-loss is not really a QB stat. Okay, if I tell you there's a QB that's won an MVP with this level of talent at the position that should matter to him most, would you predict that QB to be damn near 30 games over 500? Probably not. Yet here we are. Okay? That's one of the issues I have when we're talking about nitpicking stats. When we're trying to tear down someone's numbers and you're giving me metrics, and I'm like, but do you understand who he was throwing to? They're poo-pooing his completion percentage, even though it's better than Josh Allen and right behind Patrick Mahomes. They want to tear him down and say, oh, he's missed this guy wide open. He's missed this guy wide open. Well, look at who you're saying is open. How many times you think Willie Snead's been open? Sammy Watkins been open? Seth Roberts? You're telling me he's been open so much? Come on, man. Come on, man. Back to the comments, Joshua. The last couple of years, in the offseason, the front office appears almost paralyzed. It would be good to see a smooth offseason for once. But doesn't that include them doing their job, Joshua? That's them. They're supposed to be doing their job. If they do their job, they're smooth off seasons. Like that's not Lamar's fault. That's not indicative of Lamar. That's indicative of the front office. You had smooth front off seasons when Ozzy was in charge, right? I ain't hear no drama when it was Ozzy in charge. I don't remember any type of drama. This guy can't get paid. This guy, I didn't hear any of that when Ozzy was running it. Alex, you need to be putting up 30 points a game in this league. I agree. And people are expecting him to put up 30 with this cast of characters. He's supposed to put up 30? How? The only way he could put up 30 with this core is by running all the damn time. That's the only way. How else is he supposed to get 30? You want him to get 30 with Nelson Aguilar and Bateman? Now, Bateman, you think maybe is more of a 2? But if they don't take Odell Beckham, you think Nelson Aguilar and Rashard Bateman are going to be able to put up 30 without Lamar running for his life? Come on, man. They have to do better by not just him, but by that offense. And then by proxy, that defense, because giving this team a better offense helps the defense. We're in the chat. Steve B in the front office is the bigger issue. Yes. He's become quite meddlesome. But I think ultimately, whether it's DaCosta, whether it's Steve B, I think there needs to be accountability from somewhere in our organization. They have the easiest punching bag in the league in Lamar Jackson. They could pin everything on Lamar, and there is a sector of football fans who will blindly co-sign. Myself, most of y'all in this chat, and others out here are here to say enough. Enough of the nonsense. Enough of just using Lamar as a punching bag. Do your job. He's done his job. Whether you want to admit it or not, he's done his job. Have the Ravens done theirs? Highly debatable. We move on. There's more reaction to this. We're here to break down the reaction. Mina Kimes, you know how we rock with Mina Kimes and her football mind. Now she's putting this out here. If, and we know if is a big if Lamar is back, Bateman is healthy, Odell is healthy, a Todd Monken-led Ravens offense could be very fun to watch. And that's why I'm saying this is great, right? And we got to throw in there Mark Andrews, right? Mark Andrews is healthy. Like, there's a lot of ifs on this roster. But imagine they could add another weapon. Make it overwhelming. Ben Standig texted a few NFL execs sources about the Odell terms. Some acknowledge the Ravens wide receiver need plus Lamar factors. Still, most are stunned. Quote, that number is wild. Sounds like they gave whatever the agent wanted. Extreme is a great description. Not even sure overpay is the right word. So, and then here's some editorial part to it. Any overpay might be worth it if this satisfies Lamar and gets a deal done. Now, I don't know about to get a deal done, but it might just get him to show up. But as a standalone deal, and even with some of the Lamar factor, Baltimore appears to have paid well over market value. Imagine that. They're willing to pay well over market value for a wide receiver to satisfy their quarterback, yet they won't overpay well over market value the actual damn quarterback. And again, editorializing with Odell, a 2023 first round or day 2 wide receiver, and Mark Andrews, that's a nice group. Again, a lot of ifs. It's a lot of ifs. Joshua saying Bateman is a number 3 or number 4 until proven otherwise. I'm not sitting here saying you're wrong. That's why I'm saying I think they got more work to do. Whether it's in the draft or whether you monitor this DeAndre Hopkins thing, I think if you're really trying to compete, like I said, the Eagles didn't stop with just Devonta Smith. They went out there and traded for A.J. Brown. The Dolphins did not just stop with Jalen Waddle. They went out there and got Tyreek Hill. If you're trying to make things happen, having 2 bona fide wide receivers, clearly it's a numbers game, is better than just having 1. The Ravens got more work to do. Alex Lamar is a sacrificial lamb for the Ravens. I agree. He's the punching bag. He's an easy mark. Something goes wrong, blame Lamar. Their backup situation was Huntley. But Lamar didn't show to the playoff game. Let's blame him. Besides the fact that your organization allowed itself to have Huntley as a backup quarterback to your franchise quarterback. But, Lamar didn't want to take the trip. Let's just make that the narrative instead of the fact that we prepared poorly behind our franchise QB. Let's just find a guy who's black and can run around like Lamar, and that'll be the backup. That's not how that works. Sorry. He may look the part. That doesn't mean he actually should get the part. Pro Bowl be damned. Joshua, you do not hear much about DaCosta. Why are the Ravens afraid to sign or fire people? Allegedly, there's a lot of nepotism in that organization. It's a lot of nepotism there. And the problem is that's no different than most NFL organizations, if we're being honest. So I'm not sure. specifically, but clearly he's tenured, right? He's tenured. And let's be real. Do we really want to have a real conversation today? Do we really want to have a real hardcore, frank conversation today? How many of y'all actually think that the Baltimore Ravens as an organization want to win a Super Bowl? Y'all let me know in the chat. Let me know yes or no. Do the Baltimore Ravens actually want to do everything it takes to win a Super Bowl? Yes or no in the chat. I'll give y'all a second. Let me sip on this ginger tea. Because I think it's going to be, if any of y'all agree, I would be stunned. A lot of these NFL teams do not care. They truly do not care. Okay, I see you, Alex. You're voting no. Smart man, Alex. I'm glad you're here. And we're trying to have people like Alex, like Joshua, like Boogie Down, Tanya, where she's able to pull up. You know, all of y'all who have been active in the chat. Boogie Down. Sell tickets, and there you go. There you go. So, I mean, I'm glad I don't have to explain this too tough, right? And for those who are watching live on the replay, this is how we give it up. These teams don't really care about winning a Super Bowl. Because if they truly cared, they would be going balls to the wall and signing the most top-tier talent they can every single year. If they truly cared. And you see it here where you know when a team is trying to win, they're not. You know when a team is just doing enough to keep appearances just to make sure that the season ticket holders can keep justifying doing that charge every year, swiping that card every year. Let's just do enough to keep the appearances of we are trying. Whether it's signing a mid-tier free agent and trying to hype that up like we're going to unearth this player, even though that player's going to go out there and put up the same mid stats they did somewhere else. Nelson Aguilar. We're supposed to believe now that Nelson Aguilar is going to come in here and be something he hasn't been anywhere else in his career. Excuse me? What? How stupid do you think we are? We watch these games. We play fantasy. We play Madden. How stupid do you think we are? You're going to try to tell me Nelson Aguilar is now going to become something he hasn't been in multiple places prior. What? Joshua, no, they do not. At best, they try to get into the playoffs. And that's only a handful. Some of them don't even care about the playoffs. They only care about the playoffs if it gets them a home game, because that's more revenue. They don't care about a home game if they got to go on the road. They don't care about that. That does nothing for them, or very little for them financially. Now, if that wild card game's at home, oh, they hype. They turned up. It's lit. It's up. Another home gate? Oh, that's more money. BMF. That wild card game's on the road? Who even cares? We lose, whatever. Like they'd rather lose that game. Like if there's a playing type situation, they'd rather lose that game for the draft pick than go on the road and lose a wild card game. Just because the money is very negligible. At least the draft pick is a little bit higher by missing the playoffs. That's what I'm saying. If we're really trying to have a frank conversation, that's really what it's about. And too many fans get caught up in the minutia of they care just as much as me, the fan. No, the hell they don't. No, the hell they don't. I could tell you from firsthand experience. Go. I'm not imploring y'all to do this. But if you want to see a organization that clearly doesn't give a damn about its fan base, go to a Washington Commanders game. Look at that stadium. Look at that field. Look at those seats. and tell me that team cares about its fan base. Y'all saw that Sean Taylor statue. Y'all saw it. Alex, if they wanted to win a Super Bowl, they would invest. Yes, and every year. It's every year. It's a 401k. You got to invest in that every year. It's a IRA. It's a Roth IRA. It's a HSA. You got to invest in that every year. Okay? You can't just invest in it once and then just don't contribute to it ever again and it just bubbles up. But that's the way it is in the NFL. You can sell the appearance of, well, we tried last year. So now they're living off the residuals of last year's effort with season ticket sales and revenue and so on and so forth. So they don't have to go that hard in back-to-back years or 3 years in a row or 4 years in a row. If they could say, well, remember a couple of years ago, we went out there and we signed so-and-so and we traded up to get so-and-so. So we've tried. They could live off of that. Doesn't work that way in the real world. Nelson Aguilar wasn't even more than mid-tier in college. Agreed. He's another guy that just looks the part. Joshua, I'm not satisfied. Back when the Ravens went to their first Super Bowl, they traded up for Jamal Lewis when they had a Pro Bowl running back. And quite frankly, no one cares about the Ravens. I do remember that. I do remember Jamal Lewis. He was in that 30 for 30 doc on the Ravens a few, was that last month or in February or whatever. I think those days are gone though, Joshua. I think those days are gone, and it's not necessarily the fault of the league. It's really at the mandate of ownership. If ownership implores their employees, I want to win, those guys are going to have to acquiesce or they're going to be fired. When you see a team not be active, that's because of ownership. That's not because the front office. The front office, they're employed by the owner. Like, that's a hard stop. If the owner mandates this team needs to win, and we need to win now, and I'm going to give you the resources available to do such, then it's purely up to the front office. But when a team is not trying, owners would make you think they're oblivious to what's going on. You telling me a multi-billion-dollar investment of yours, you have no idea what's happening underneath you? I'm supposed to believe that? Again, how stupid do you think we are? This isn't Green Bay where they're a publicly traded thing. This ain't that. There's a head person in charge. There's a owner. Even when it's a minority group and all of that, there's still one person that owns the bulk of the team. What that person say goes. You telling me a front office could make all these moves happen without any knowledge? With the owner having no knowledge? Come on, man. That's where it starts. It begins and ends there. Appreciate y'all being active in the chat. I appreciate the likes. Keep those coming in. If you're just checking out the stream here, you're enjoying the content. It's a free-for-all. It's a lot of discourse here. We're going heavy in the chat. You see the other, segments where we're going to get to. But, as usual, the Ravens stuff has kind of taken over. And, we're going deep into it. Pause. Boogie down. The Raiders didn't care about their fan base until it moved to Vegas. Ravens were sharing a stadium with the Oakland A's. Davis didn't care about its fans in Oakland. I live in Cali, so I know. Also, Boogie down, So look, they've been to L.A., Oakland, back to L.A., back to Oakland, and now ultimately in Vegas. They've just been bouncing around. whoever got the check for the Davis family. And even with all those moves, they still don't got the bag. They still don't got the money. That's the sad part about it. The Raiders, in terms of merch, popularity, and fan base, even though now they're in their third city, that should be enough for them to be able to print money. They should be, even though with less titles in the last 40 years, they should be in the same class as the Cowboys, as the 49ers. They should be of that level, even though they were them in the 70s and even a sprinkle in the 80s. It's been a minute since they've been in of that ilk. But just in terms of merch, fan base, all of that, they should be able to print money. But for whatever reason, whether it was Al Davis tricking it off, spending too much time suing the NFL and all of that, or whether it's Mark Davis who, just now found a barber after multiple years owning this team. I don't know what it is, but this team is cash poor. Cash poor. The Raiders as a franchise is cash poor, and I don't have the slightest idea why that stadium is immaculate in Vegas. There's a lot of things to do on the Strip that are better than going to a football stadium. I'm just saying, at least drive by that stadium and take a look. That stadium is immaculate. How are they not printing money? All right, I see y'all in the chat. Let me see if we can push the conversation forward a little bit. Oh, here's the report I was telling you about earlier in regards to this wide receiver class. Here's a report. Numerous NFL teams are down on the 2023 wide receiver class and only have one wide receiver with a first-round grade. That's Jackson Smith and Jigba. The league isn't, quote, nearly as high, end quote, on this year's class as the media is. Okay, so let me come off the screen here for a sec. And we've been showing these mock drafts for a minute. Let me see. Let me get this lined up. And we've been looking at multiple receivers going in the first round, but according to sources, and again, remember sources is a loose term. According to sources, there's only a handful of receivers. Well, there's only one, Jackson Smith and Jigba, with the first round grade. So what that means is Quentin Johnston, allegedly, according to, let me find the right thing here. Where are we at here? The league, quote, isn't nearly as high on this year's class as the media is. So Quentin Johnston might not have a first round grade. Jordan Addison might not have a first round grade. If that's the case, look, if Addison's there at 22, if Addison's there at 22, 4.49 and a 40, I don't know if that's enough to take the top off the defense. I don't know. But at some point, if we're really saying Quentin Johnston, after watching him in the college football playoff, is not a first-round pick, I would love for them to explain why. I would love to know why someone that is this big, pause, 6'3", that showed you he can attack the ball at his highest peak, that showed you he could make himself available, he can create windows for the ball to be thrown in. I don't know how that's not a first-round grade. Is he a Justin Jefferson? No. Is he that type of dynamic receiver? I'm going to say no. But it all depends on the fit. If he goes to Baltimore and he's got Bateman and Odell, and then he could be the third guy, or maybe you put him across from Odell and he's the number two. Once Odell shows he's still that route runner, they're going to have to create some coverage to watch him. Now you have Quentin Johnston mostly facing one-on-one coverages or soft zones. With this size, he should be able to cook. Should. But again, we're being told the league isn't nearly as high on this year's wide receiver class as the media is. So they're basically telling us that these blue check boys and girls with all these mock drafts, they are reaching, putting Quentin Johnson and Jordan Addison here in the first round. That's what they're trying to tell you. I don't know if I'm co-signing, but I'm here to bring you the information, and we can decipher off of that. We can work off of that. Now, here's where we get to the Kirk Cousins space. Let's see. All right, let me just fix this up real quick. Cool. All right, so when it comes to Kirk Cousins, right, there's a lot here to navigate. Contract signed by Kirk Cousins. He gets a standard 4-year rookie deal. 2016, 2017, he gets the franchise tag by the Washington football team, right? Fully guaranteed. Then he signs the deal with the Vikings, the 3-year deal. $84 million, fully guaranteed. He gets an extension for 2 more years. $66 million more, fully guaranteed. Then they just re-upped him again for this year. $35 million, fully guaranteed. Kirk Cousins has never, outside of the rookie deal, which has some slight funny money in it, but is mostly guaranteed, but on a lower scale, obviously, he has never had a contract that wasn't fully guaranteed since his rookie deal. This is 6 years of contracts without funny money. Yet they keep telling us about Deshaun Watson. Now, granted, the franchise tag is fully guaranteed, and Lamar will have the same options with the 32.4 this year. But when he was a free agent and he finished with the franchise tag, he was able to get fully guaranteed money, and then they extended him for 2 more years, and they continued the theme of fully guaranteed money. And then even this past year, where we all know he ain't it. You could have fooled yourself into thinking at 2018, all right, let's see what he's got once he's been handed the keys. And he had Stephon Diggs, and he had Justin Jefferson. So the numbers were there. The wins, the playoff wins weren't necessarily there, but the stats were there. The record was there. And even this past year, still able to finally get another contract extension that's fully guaranteed. So in his career, $231 million through this year, of which all but $2 million of it was fully guaranteed. In his career as a starter, 72-63. You could do the math here. That's 53% as a starter. 1 playoff win in 8 years. 1. 8 years. 1 playoff win. Yet, he keeps getting fully guaranteed money. Now let's go down to Lamar. Standard 4-year rookie deal. The option's been exercised. That's the tag. We don't know if he's going to get the franchise tag for the next 2 years like Kirk Cousins, or they're going to do a long-term deal. But the comparisons through their first 61 starts, Lamar has started 61 games. So they both got 61 starts, okay? Their record through those 61 starts, Lamar is 45-16. Kirk Cousins was 27-32. Lamar in those 61 starts had 100 passing touchdowns to only 38 interceptions. Kirk Cousins had 105 passing touchdowns to 53 interceptions. You want to go advanced metrics? Here you go. EPA equal 47% success. Completion percentage, 64% for Lamar, 66 for Kirk. Yards per attempt, damn near equal. And if you even want to get into the rushing yards, we know how much of a wash that is, but let's play it out anyway. Double the yards per carry and 4,300 rushing yards compared to only 440, 23 rushing touchdowns compared to 13. Yet somehow, Kirk Cousins has been able to walk away with 229 out of 231 million guaranteed in his career, where he's only 9 games over 500 as a starter, with 1 playoff win. So all the stuff that they criticize Lamar about, they somehow find a way to critique him, even though he has won 45 out of 61 games. They find a way to make that a negative. Only in this argument is winning football games a problem. They talk about his lack of playoff success, and he has 1 playoff win in 8 years. Lamar Jackson has 1 playoff win in less years. And then when we talk about touchdown to interception ratio, 100 passing touchdowns to 38 compared to 105 to 53. Lamar has a better ratio. Advanced analytics equal. Completion percentage, negligible difference. Yards per attempt, negligible difference. And then you add in the rushing and it's a whitewash. Yet and still, there's so much pushback for Lamar to get fully guaranteed money. It's so absurd of a notion for Lamar to ask or demand fully guaranteed money. But they keep trying to do this cloak and dagger thing of Deshaun Watson. No. Kirk Cousins. Been yelling at the top of my lungs for over a month about Kirk Cousins and his guaranteed contracts. But they keep pushing Deshaun Watson in front of me. This is where it started. This is where the market shifted. Could you imagine being Patrick Mahomes and you're seeing Kirk Cousins get all this fully guaranteed money and you signed a 10-year, $450 million deal that is backloaded with roster bonuses 5 years from now, when Kirk is getting his money right now up front? How? How are you Patrick Mahomes and Kirk Cousins is getting his money up front, yet you got to be on the roster 5 years from now to get 50 M's? What are we doing here? Back to the comments, back to the chat. Thank you for those who pulling up. Hit that like if you can, if you haven't subscribed. I'm not going to guarantee I'm going to be this animated every stream, but certain stuff just comes so ridiculous to me where it's like, yo, man, this ain't hard math. This is not the Pythagorean theorem. This is not algebra. This is none of that. This is simple math. Market share, market value. That's not hard to figure out. You don't need an MBA. You don't need that. Let's see. I see y'all talking about Odell in the comments. Art Modell, okay. Alex Smith, I'm not mad at Kirk Cousins. Again, I'm not mad. Get him. Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing, Alex, about Kirk Cousins. The reason why we're not riding on Kirk Cousins negatively is, he got the bag. When it was his turn, he got the bag, and he and his team, whatever, did something unprecedented. It was historical. The richest contract in NFL history at that time. The first ever fully guaranteed multi-year contract at that time. He did what he was supposed to do. It was his turn to get the bag, and he found someone to give him the bag, and he cashed out, and he got no funny money incentives, straight cash, homie, like Randy Moss. He did his job. He pushed, he elevated the game. He set a new market. It was up to the QBs after him to follow suit. And like we've been talking about here, and then Richard Sherman also said similar things. Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen followed suit right after Kirk Cousins, yet they didn't get the fully guaranteed deals. They went back to the standard type of contracts that have incentives, that have roster bonuses, that have funny money. So that people forgot the Cousins deal because the Cousins deal was the anomaly. Then Deshaun Watson revisited it and was able to find someone willing to pay him fully guaranteed money. That reinvigorated that restarted the conversation about, okay, fully guaranteed. We back on now. And Lamar, whether he wants, a Mahomes type contract or a Josh Allen type contract or a Watson contract, he's focusing allegedly on the fully guaranteed part. He just wants more guaranteed money than Deshaun Watson, which means $230 million. When to me, if I was his agent, and I see you, Alex, saying I should be, someone should hire Kirk Cousins' agent, I think so. That's Josh. And then Alex said you need to be Lamar's agent. Hey, look, my email is there. If he wants to hit me up, I'm available. At the CMD on all. Let me make sure. It's right there. At the CMD in the corner. It's right there. You can find me on the Elon app. Right there. But that's what I'm saying though. Like, it's not this hard, man. It doesn't have to be this hard. It does not. Stop the cap. Thank you for pulling up. I appreciate it. I saw you early in the comments. Oh, Sharon's in here. Okay. Oh, she was. I don't know if she's still in here. Let me see. Let me scroll back. Thank y'all for being in the chat, man. Appreciate all of y'all pulling up in the chat and participating in the stream. Appreciate it. Stop the cap. The billionaires will not consider the fans unless they are forced to do so. Yeah. You saw what happened in soccer. Across the pond, they ran down on their owners. They ran down. I forgot what squad that was, what football club that was, but they ran down on their ownership. Imagine a NFL fan base running down on one of these owners. Oof. I mean, it'll be the that's the real insurrection. Let's see. Sharon, no to what? Let me know. Stop the cap. Otherwise, it's just another stream of income that's the owners capitalize on. They know we feel, but don't care unless the brand legitimacy is threatened. That's facts, though. That's facts. Keep on contributing. Stop the cap. I appreciate the sentiment. Appreciate the comments. Let's see what else we got. And lose that. Boogie down. Kirk Cousins is trash. I won't go that far. Hey, man, you just got to find the right team. Here's the thing, right? Kirk Cousins goes to Minnesota. He has Thielen. They add Stephon Diggs. They keep talent around him. Like, that's the thing. I think the Vikings are fully aware of Kirk Cousins' limitations. Yet and still, they keep finding ways to put talent around him to make sure that investment continues to reap benefits. Like, it was Thielen, then Thielen and Diggs, then Justin Jefferson. Like, they keep finding ways to turn it over to keep providing him talent. They know his limitations. They know he's not a true franchise QB. But for what they're trying to do, they're going to make sure he has top-tier talent around him at all times. Let them go out there and get Quentin Johnston. Put him with Justin Jefferson. Kirk Cousins is going to keep getting fully guaranteed contracts until he's 40. Joshua, doesn't anyone know anything about Mike McCartney? McCartney or McCarthy? Boogie down. Now Ravens need to go trade for Jerry Jeudy. That'll be a nice trio, OBJ, Bateman, and Jerry Jeudy. Can you picture that? If they're willing to give up the draft collateral, Broncos won a lot, allegedly. And I think that's why there hasn't been a deal for Jeudy yet, is that they want a lot for him. And it's been real quiet on that, too. Remember, we was getting updates on that, like, every couple of days we were getting updates from Dove on that. But as we get close to this draft, you see total picks here. The Raiders have the most picks, tied with the Texans with 12. The Dolphins have the fewest picks. Teams with multiple first-round picks is the Texans, the Seahawks, the Lions, the Eagles. Teams with no first-round pick, 49ers, Browns, Broncos, Dolphins, Rams. So if you're a team that's trying to make moves up in the draft, you see the Eagles here, you see the Lions, you see the Seahawks, you see the Texans. If you're a team that needs to try to get some draft collateral back, you see it here with the Dolphins. They forfeited their first-round pick with that Tom Brady no tank, Brian Flores nonsense, and now here they are. Stuck here with only 4 picks, including not having a first-round pick. So the draft is going to be real interesting. Well, we've been following it here. But as y'all see, this whole Kirk Cousins thing, man, like I don't think I'm tripping. Sometimes I will admit I can get caught up. But here, the math be mathin'. And thanks to Warren Sharp, who broke this down so succinctly, that we're able to navigate this and find comparisons that really show how it's ridiculous how people are just finding any kind of reason to show why Lamar Jackson should not get a fully guaranteed deal. When we've seen what Kirk Cousins has been able to accomplish, I don't know how you could tell me there's no way that, he can't, like Lamar can't get the same. Now I'm kind of rooting. I'm rooting for Lamar to take the franchise tag the next 2 years. Put him on a free open marketplace where there's no draft compensation having to be included, and tell me Lamar Jackson, if he plays up to not even the MVP year, the year after that, where he was 11-4 as a starter and put up similar numbers to the MVP year. If he could be that with OBJ and whatever else help they find a way to get him, let him do that for the next 2 years and let him hit the open market. Let him hit the open market and tell me he can't go out there and get a fully guaranteed deal. With no draft compensation having to be attached to it, you telling me Arthur Blank's gonna lie to us like he did this a couple months ago? You telling me Ron Rivera's gonna lie to us like he did a few weeks ago? You telling me 2 years from now, if the Washington football team is still running around here with some Sam Howell, that they're going to sit here and lie to us again, saying that they're comfortable with Sam Howell over Lamar Jackson? When Bezos might be owning the team then? Come on, man. Come on. Stop the cap. The Ravens getting OBJ is cool and all, but he is still over 30, and he earned an injury-prone label. Sure. I'm not sitting here saying OBJ is enough. I think the only thing that the OBJ signing signals is that I don't think Lamar is going to get a deal, a long-term deal, either with the Ravens, and I don't think an NFL team pre-draft or post-draft is going to sign him to an offer sheet. You know, I jumped out there and put out a video that suggested collusion. It got a lot of clicks here. It's still by far my most viewed video. And it got me a lot of subscribers. And if you have not subscribed, I would appreciate it if you would subscribe, because I'll be on this type of time. I'm on this stream Monday to Friday from 4 p.m. till whenever. Sometimes it's an hour if there's not that much going on. Sometimes it's like today where we're rolling in the hour, rolling up over an hour already. And we didn't even get to the nonsense of Rudy Gobert. But just the Ravens stuff alone from this past weekend, you know, y'all see how active the chat is. Y'all see how people are pulling up, getting their opinions off. Tanya hasn't even pulled up yet. We haven't even gotten Tanya to pull up. Bring the Heat hasn't pulled up. There's still some people that haven't pulled up yet. I haven't seen Corey in here. I don't know if he's in here today. It's a lot of people that contribute to this stream and the chat. And, you know, we build something strong here. So if you want to be a part of it, hit that subscribe button. And, you know, you can expect stuff like this where I do the research. I bring y'all stats. I bring y'all numbers. I comb the internet looking for smart people talking about this stuff, not just hot takes. I don't do hot takes. I have whatever take I have, there's some information behind it. Now, you can disagree with that information. That's fine. But I'm going to give you a take that has some sort of basis of information behind it. I know, you know, that might not be, you know, entertaining to some, but you know, my subscribers are growing. So apparently there are people out here who feel that sports could be discussed with a slant that's not just about screaming and embracing debate. Anywho, stop the cap. I see where you're coming from after seeing these Kirk numbers. Yeah, man. Like, here's the thing. Stop the cap. Like, when we were talking about the Kirk Cousins thing a month ago, a lot of people were in the chat and they were just insinuating that I and others were just hating because of like Kirk Cousins. I'm like, it's not about that. Like, I've worked in other areas outside of sports media. I'm a sports media vet for 14 years, 14 joints, but I also worked in healthcare for a number of years. And as someone that worked in healthcare as a union rep, like, I know labor law. I know compensation and how that works. I've worked jobs. Like, I don't understand how people don't feel like someone sets the mark in your industry. Why would you not want that and follow suit and continue upon that? Like, why would you just let that become an anomaly? And in the NFL, these fully guaranteed contracts signed by Kirk Cousins, signed by Deshaun Watson, signed by Aaron Rodgers are being treated as if they don't exist. Or they're anomalies. How many times does it have to happen for it to still be considered an anomaly? It's happened 3 times. That's not an anomaly. If it only happened with Kirk Cousins, that's an anomaly. But then he kept getting re-upped, as you see here, 229 out of 231 million in his career has been fully guaranteed money. And then you have the Deshaun Watson deal, and then you have the Aaron Rodgers deal on the Aaron Rodgers extension. Let's be specific, the Aaron Rodgers extension on top of that. Yet, Patrick Mahomes signed a roster bonus-filled backfield contract. Josh Allen signed a traditional funny money contract. Kyler Murray signed a traditional funny money contract. Now everyone's saying, well, why doesn't Lamar just take a funny money contract? Well, why should I? Why should I? Kirk Cousins is walking around with all his money, and he's Kirk Cousins. I'm Lamar Jackson. Why can't I walk around with all my money? If I'm Patrick Mahomes, why do I got to wait till the year 2031 to have a base salary that's 40 M's? Why? I don't know, man. Y'all tell me, man. Just the math don't be mathing. This is not pi. This is not the Pythagorean theorem. This is not algebraic equations. This is simple. Kirk Cousins with a 9 games over 500 record as a starter is collecting fully guaranteed contracts year after year after year, and no one gives a damn. Why don't they give a damn? I know why. I know what Boogie Down would say is the reason why, but I'm just asking the rest of you, why is Kirk Cousins still getting fully guaranteed money and no one ever brings it up? Jump back. I think I missed a couple comments. Alex, go get that money if you can. No doubt. That's why, again, there's never shade for Kirk Cousins. I can shade his playing ability, but I'm not shading him when he pulls up to that bank. When he pulls up to the bank, or I don't even know how he does it. He might get direct deposit. He might not have to step inside of a bank. 230 M's? Man, do we have to? All right, let's go ahead. Let me pull this up. I don't like to air a dude out in terms of his acumen or lack thereof, but I mean, when we do these breakdowns, when we figure out these numbers, this is not something that's taken lightly. All right, y'all see who it is. Let me move this over a little bit so we have full, boom. There we go. All right, so these numbers, since, let's just take Minnesota. So these are the years that got him continuous, fully guaranteed money, right? He's been over 66% and up in completion percentage his entire time there, right? So it averages out to 68%. His TD to touchdown ratio is 3-1. So he's done way better in Minnesota than in Washington. But does that mean he's been better or he's been given actual talent in Minnesota? In Washington, he had very little talent surrounding him. In Minnesota, he's had Adam Thielen before he got old, Stephon Diggs, and now Justin Jefferson. So he's had a real number one receiver every year of his tenure in Minnesota. And we know how they've done with the running backs and Dalvin Cook. They made the trade last year for Hawkinson. So they have routinely found ways to surround Kirk Cousins with help. And this has been the return on that. Yes, he does not miss a lot of games, but he has missed games. Don't act like he hasn't. He's missed a few games, okay? Outside of all that, these numbers look great, but these wins don't look so great. An 8-8 year when there were 17 games, so he missed a game. 7-9. Even here, he missed a game here. So he's missed some time, not as much as Lamar, but the narrative goes that, you know, they call Lamar like he's street clothes or something, like he's Anthony Davis, which is also another trash narrative, and we'll get there at some point. But when you look at the numbers here, these numbers are not enormous numbers. These are not numbers that Lamar Jackson can't and hasn't done. And this is with nowhere near the same amount of help. If you would give Lamar Jackson a Justin Jefferson or a Stephon Diggs or a younger Adam Thielen, Lamar would be cooking. You give him a Dalvin Cook, he would be cooking. But these numbers have warranted getting fully guaranteed money every single year. Come on, man. Come on, man. Like you can't keep saying it's an anomaly when it keeps happening. Alex feels me on that. They want to say it's an anomaly because it doesn't fit the narrative that they want to push. 1,000%, 1,000%. This is how that works, right? This is exactly how that works. And again, this is not to shade Kirk Cousins because it's not actually about that. He did what he was supposed to do. Him, his reps, his agent, whatever, they went in there and were able to, coming off of 9-7, 8-7, and 7-9 years. These are not great years. 29 TDs to 11 picks, 25 TDs to 12 picks, 27 to 13. This is standard in today's league. This is what you would expect from your starting quarterback, right? And the Vikings went out there and gave him the bag. And the numbers haven't been that much better. Completion percentage has been better, but TD, the touchdown ratio hasn't been better. But then you look at the averages and it's like, oh, okay. He went from a 2-to-1 TD to interception ratio to a 3-to-1. Okay. But the victories haven't necessarily been there. But yet and still, he keeps getting fully guaranteed money. Boogie down. Justin Jefferson just ain't a number one. He's arguably the best receiver in the entire NFL. Agreed. He's top tier. He's top 5, easy. And then depending on who you like, he could be number 1 or he could be, top 5. Lamar's out here throwing to Snead. Sammy Watkins. Y'all saw the list. Where is it? Willie Snead, Sammy Watkins, Seth Roberts. Kirk Cousins roll out of bed, and every year in Minnesota has been Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, or Justin Jefferson. Okay. Keep telling me how Lamar is supposed to do all of that 1 on 11 every single year and not have his body break down. Keep doing it 1 on 11 with this type of help. Keep doing that. 1 on 11 with no help. Keep doing that, please. And we're going to critique you even when your record is almost 30 games over 500. We're still going to critique you. Be 30 games over 500 with this group. While Kirk Cousins keeps getting fully guaranteed contracts and he's being handed Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, and Justin Jefferson. Okay. What are we doing? All right. So now, other NFL news and notes. Buffalo Bills. It is, quote, very possible that the Bills will trade up from their 27th spot in the draft to pick an offensive skill player or interior O-line. I'm focusing on offensive skill players. So they want to trade up from 27. Y'all know how we do. Okay. Who could be available at 27? Well, if we're listening to other reports, there should be plenty of receivers available. And if they're trying to trade up, how far can they trade up? Do they dare even trade with the Ravens? Do the Ravens move back? If the Vikings get Quentin Johnston, now again, we saw the report early in the stream of how there's a lot of people in the league that think the media is hyping up this wide receiver class. So it remains to be seen what happens when it comes to receivers. But right now we know there's Jackson Smith-Njigba from the Ohio State University. And then apparently, according to people in the league, there's not another first-round grade receiver in this year's draft. So that means Jordan Addison from USC and Quentin Johnston from TCU, who showed out in the college football playoff, allegedly are not first-round grades. So the Bills are out here trying to give even more help to Josh Allen, and this is what Boogie Down is referencing. So Josh Allen, quote, needs more help. They keep making excuses for this guy. I can't stand Josh Allen, super overrated and gets all the media hype. I agree with parts of that. He certainly gets a lot of media hype. There were a lot of people predicting him to be MVP last year, and he certainly had stats at some point to be considered an MVP. But then, much like running quarterbacks do, he got hurt. Oh, but Sam, he hurt his elbow. Right. But how come when that running quarterback got hurt, there was no talk about his playing style? But when Lamar gets hurt and misses action, oh, it's because of his playing style, even though Lamar got hurt in the pocket, not running. Josh Allen gets hurt. Running quarterback. No mention of him having to change his playing style. Lamar gets hurt in the pocket. Oh, his playing style is too, we can't trust it. Arthur Blank really jumped out the window and said that. He lied to y'all and has not been pressed about it, except for here on this stream. So the Bills are trying to get Josh Allen even more help. But, Lamar, go out there and do it 1-on-11. With Snead and Seth Roberts. Funny to your boy. What else we got? A lot of tabs today. Let's see. Do we have any other NFL stuff? We have a lot of basketball stuff. But I know y'all are mostly NFL people, but let's see. Do we need to get into this Carson Palmer stuff? I'm not going to play the sound because of copyright. But Pro Bowl QB Carson Palmer, Bengals Joe Burrow is better than Patrick Mahomes. Quote, he's more consistent. He continues. He's more accountable to run the system and the play that's called. Now, I want y'all to understand something. There is direct metrics and stats that show that this is a lie. If y'all will give me a second and y'all can hit the chat and do what y'all do, I will find the tweet that shows that this here is a lie. He's more consistent. Remember this part right here. He's more accountable to run the system and the play that's called. Remember that point, okay? Let me see if I can find this tweet. Give me a second. Okay. Oh, we're having fun today. We are out here. Easy hour and a half so far. This definitely looks to be a minimum of a 2-hour stream. Well, with the way we're going, we got people pulling up. We got people hitting the like button. Hopefully we got people subscribing as well. And there's a lot going on. Let's see. Let me see if I can find that. Joe Burrow. Come on. And the funny thing is, like, the stats were so clear that this was a lie. Let's see. Where did I see that tweet? I mean, there are some people, I will show y'all this real quick. There are some people that just using the basic metrics to show how this is probably fugazi. I think Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in the league. Burrow's first 3 years, 11,770 plus yards, 82 TDs, 31 interceptions, 0 rings. Mahomes' first 3 years, 13,800 plus yards, 114 touchdowns, 23 interceptions, and a Super Bowl ring, right? So that's one way to look at it, right? But that's not the stat. Because remember, he's talking about running an offense. So he's insinuating that Mahomes be out here freestyling. He'd rather have Joe Burrow, who will just run the play that's called, right? Make his reads and make it happen, right? He's not going to freestyle. He's not going to ad lib, all of that stuff. That's how he's giving it up. Let's see. Oh, I hope I can find this. Did I screenshot it? Let me check the phone because there was a lot there. Let me just keep it on this for now so y'all know what we're talking about. But give me a sec here because I know I saw that tweet. Let's see. All right, yeah, I think it might be on my sports list. Let me come off that. Let me see. I'll see y'all in the chat. Thank y'all for keeping it going in the chat. Boogie down. We all know what running QB is code for. Yep, we sure do. We sure do. Stop the cap. Agreed. Lamar Jackson will have a better year than his MVP year. Got to keep his hit total down. Lamar Jackson has led the team in rushing since rookie year. He's way too talented for the Ravens. Yeah, he gave them a lot of value on a rookie deal, and they're not trying to pay him for his years of service. They want to pay him for future service. Boogie down. They tried saying Josh Allen was better than Mahomes last year. That didn't pan out, so now they're trying to push Burrow. We all know what's going on here. Facts though. Like that. That's why to me it gets comical when they keep telling you things, and it's like, but there's actual evidence that shows what you're saying is not true. Like, how can you keep referencing things that are so clearly and easily being able to pull stuff that shows like you're not telling the truth? These people are not telling the truth. And I hope I can find this tweet that has the numbers. I thought I had it saved in my tabs. That tab probably got closed without me knowing. Let me see if I can find it. I'm scrolling like crazy to find it, so I don't want y'all to have to witness all the scrolls, but it basically showed how, if anything, Mahomes gets the ball out quicker and is more decisive in running the offense better than Joe Burrow. That's essentially what the stat said. The stat broke it down like Carson Palmer's out here saying that Joe Burrow is more decisive and it's quicker to release the ball and running the offense, when there's stats that clearly show that Burrow is middle of the pack in those metrics and Mahomes is top 2 in those metrics. But Carson Palmer out here is using those statistics to get a narrative off about how Joe Burrow is more organized in running an offense than Patrick Mahomes. Silly shit, to be quite honest with you. It's silly. Silly. I found the stat, thankfully. And it was my guy Warren Sharp. I should have went right to his page. So, again, Carson Palmer calls Joe Burrow the best quarterback in the league. And here's the quote. He's more consistent. He's more accountable to run the system and the play that's called. All right. NFL average time to throw is 2.6 seconds. On quick throws, 2.3 seconds or less is where the QB is clearly executing the play and not, quote, doing it with his feet, which is the insinuation between Mahomes versus Burrow. In 2022, Joe Burrow was not as effective in terms of EPA than Mahomes. Mahomes was second in the league in EPA, which is referencing average time to throw and executing the play, right? In executing the play, Mahomes was second in the league. Burrow was 17th. Yeah, Carson Palmer is saying Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in the league, and he's more consistent and more accountable to run the system and the play that's called than Mahomes. And if you want to say, all right, well, that was a one-year sample, Sam. All right, well, let's go to the year before that. Same category. Mahomes was 3rd. Burrow was 10th. What are we doing here yet again? These people just need microphones just to say something. And because they're former players in this league and they run QB camps and all this stuff, they get thrown upon this credibility that, quite honestly, with takes like this, is not earned. He's more consistent. He's more accountable to run the system and the play that's called. Well, Carson Palmer, here are metrics saying that that's not true. Now what? You're going to move the goalpost again to find another stat, another narrative, to find reasons why Patrick, because again, this is where the hot take culture comes in. Carson Palmer is just saying the thing. I've talked about it here, where a lot of times people are just saying the thing to get clicks, to get eyeballs, to get aggregated, so on and so forth. And truth be told, that's why I'm talking about it. But we're going to call it out and push the conversation forward. We're not just going to argue, well, who is the best quarterback in the league? I don't care about that. What I'm here to say is this person is being accredited as a valid source of information. And he is making comments that can be seen as influential. The problem is that when you just make blanket statements and say Joe Burrow is more consistent, Joe Burrow's more accountable to run the system and the play that's called. And if you see here, and not feel like, well, he didn't win last time and get open for me, so I'm going to do it with my feet. Do it with my feet. That's the part that's problematic here, because that's insinuating that Mahomes just be running around. When, if you look at the numbers and you crunch the data, that is not true. Mahomes runs his system to the tier of second in the league, second and third in back-to-back years. Whereas Burrow was top 10 2 seasons ago and dropped down to middle of the pack last year. Thomas is in here. Salute, Thomas. I'm a big Burrow fan, but I don't agree with that. And I'll tell you what, I want y'all to know in the chat, Thomas is a big LSU guy. So if he's in here and he's saying, even as a Burrow guy, he's not rolling with it, then take heed to that. Take heed to that. He's a big LSU guy. He's all about the Bayou, and he's out here letting us know even he don't agree with that. So again, this is what this stream is for. This stream is for people that can be fans of players but can still admit the real. We're not here to just bathe and soak in fandom. We're here to have real sports conversations. Alex, all three are elite level, but Carson Palmer is a joke. You know what? He had a Pro Bowl or something, right? I mean, he had some years, and that's the thing, right? Like, I don't really mind athletes having their opinion, right? Because, you know, the way I grew up, a lot of athletes didn't get a chance to have their opinions out. So clearly in this alleged new media age, athletes are having podcasts, they're doing live streams like this one. They're putting content out, they're on their social media feeds, they're doing all the same stuff that we're doing. So, and they're able to, some of them are able to give us different perspectives on how to look at the game. Sometimes, though, they're just leveraging off their name to cash out. And they're running QB camps, and they're getting appearances on TV shows and podcasts and radio shows just because of their name, and they're cashing out and they're monetizing it, which no shade to that. But when you make a comment, and we could find easy metrics, like there's other metrics we could use as well. But EPA is the one that's most directly tied to what Carson Palmer is saying about why Burrow is allegedly better than Mahomes. So we're finding information that's directly showing that your hot take or your analysis, your opinion is wrong. But yet and still, he'll show up on all your favorite shows, on your favorites podcast, on your favorites streams or whatever, and he'll continue to spit. He'll double and triple down on this just because it gets him appearances on these shows. It's not really about, who knows if he even believes this. That's the thing. Like, I could tell you, working in this industry, when someone jumps out there with a hot take, it's not 100% of the time what they believe in. Sometimes they're saying the thing because they know it's a thing that if it's said, will go viral, will get clicks, will get retweets, will get aggregated. That's the game now. That's the game I'm not trying to play, but that's the game now. You want to run the numbers up? Go out here and say this. Even though there's easy stats that can shut this down, just go out here and say this, and it doesn't matter. There will be more people clicking on this than more people clicking on this. And that's the unfortunate part, but that's why I'm trying to build a community of people that will look at stuff like this as opposed to just falling for this trick right here. This is a trick. And here's data to thwart that trick. But this will get millions of views, and this will maybe get 5 figures. And therein lies the problem. Back to the chat. Boogie down. Burrow is he's a deaf from system QB. Arm is mid, not really athletic or mobile, however you say it. Tomato, tomato. If it wasn't for him having 2 top 10 receivers, he'd be trash. Strong sentiment at the end was saying he'd be trash, but I definitely think, again, he's a guy that walked in. Oh yeah, go draft my mans. Go draft my man's Jamar Chase, along with already having Tyler Boyd, and then go get me T. Higgins. Like, goddamn, he's walking in. He's got trips. When trips come out there, all of them trips. Tyler Boyd was a number 1 receiver a few years ago. Then Jamar Chase showed up. Then T. Higgins showed up, and it's like, goddamn, how do y'all lose a game? How do y'all lose? How we got outscored? How are the Bengals ever outscored? If Burrow's the best quarterback in the league, and he has allegedly 3 number 1 receivers, or bare minimum 2, how does he ever lose? Joshua basically saying that he is a system quarterback. I think he's saying more than that there, Joshua. I think he's trying to make the insinuation that, yes, there's a system, but he is so top tier that he executes that system at a higher, faster level than Patrick Mahomes. So it's not just that he's a system QB, it's more than that. He's trying to insinuate that he's so good at running that offense that that's what makes him the best quarterback in the league. He's not going off of just talent. He's not judging talent. He's judging how can you execute. He's saying it. I know Patrick is phenomenal. That's talent. That's not ability. That's not acumen. That's IQ. He's talking about physicality right there. I know Patrick is phenomenal, but I just think Joe's more consistent. Now, phenomenal means Patrick can make up plays on the fly and do things to shovel passes behind the back. He's throwing the ball parallel a few years ago against the Bucks. Like he could do it all. He's doing no-look passes. He could do it all. He's phenomenal. But that's not speaking to skill set. That's speaking to athleticism, improvisational skills. I think Joe's more consistent. That's speaking to this guy. You give him the play, he runs it. He knows all the reads. He knows all the hot routes. He knows all the checkdowns. He knows all of that. He's more consistent. He's more accountable to run the system and play and the play that's called and not feel like, well, he didn't win last time and get open for me, so I'm going to do it with my feet. And then before you know it, you're sacked for a 4-yard loss because you tried to make 2 or 3 guys miss. Joe is just talk about not having a weakness. It keeps going. Mentally strong. Physically strong. This is what your man's is saying. This is what Carson Palmer is saying. Mentally strong. So it's not just system. Mentally, make sure. Be good. Let me make sure y'all can see that. Get out the way. Mentally strong. Okay? So it's definitely not about system. Boogie down. Appreciate all y'all who are pulling up. If you haven't dropped that like, hit that like, please. If you have not subscribed, hit that subscribe. This is the type of content you're going to get when you subscribe. I've noticed this, Boogie down. I've noticed this, but when the media describe black QBs, they always say they aren't consistent. They've said it about Lamar Jackson, and now they're saying about Mahomes. I've heard them say it about Dak and Hurts too. Yes, sometimes there are certain narratives that just continue to follow certain types of quarterbacks. I think the running quarterback or the dual threat quarterback or the mobile quarterback or however you want to describe it, that quarterback is not just looking like black QBs anymore. So that narrative has to change. But yet and still, we're getting, information, we're getting opinions, we're getting debates that still feel like the old tropes of drop back quarterback versus running quarterback. Joe Burrow scrambles. Joe Burrow isn't a statue in the pocket. He's mobile. He moves around. He's missed a year of action. When he blew out the ACL, he's missed a year of action. But yet and still, we're still getting the same tropes. Mentally strong. Mahomes, Patrick is phenomenal, but Joe's more consistent. Patrick just won his second Super Bowl in 3 attempts. How is that less consistent than Joe Burrow? He's won his second MVP, his second Super Bowl MVP. But Joe Burrow's more consistent. What are we doing? What are we doing? Joshua, I remember when they said that Tony Romo was a franchise QB ahead of Joe Flacco. Oh, they gave all the love in the world to Tony Romo. That's why when he went to the booth, it was such a success. Because one, he's a cowboy. Anytime a cowboy, if you're a cat, well, here's the thing. It'll be interesting to see how Dak Prescott gets treated in his post-playing career. If you're any cowboy quarterback worth a damn, you have a media job waiting for you. Aikman, Romo, they had Emmitt Smith was on TV. Michael Irvin's been on TV. They even tried Jason Witten. That was a disaster. Him with the fake hair. That was a disaster. Like, if you're any type of cowboy that's relevant, they will put you on TV. But quarterback especially. From Aikman to Romo, will Dak Prescott get a TV media job? Or whether it's streaming, maybe he'll be on Amazon or something, I don't know. But will Dak be the next one? That's when that'll let me know things have changed. When now even the black QB for the Cowboys can get a media job. Not just the Aikmans and the Romos of the world, and even Staubach back in the day, he was on TV. Dak isn't worth the money he got paid. Isn't Dak's contract like Daniel Jones' contract? I mean, I think Dak has more guaranteed, but all right. Alex is gonna make me go down a rabbit hole. Let me pause on that first. Okay. Joshua. So is he biased because he was a former Bengal? I'm sure that plays a part of it. I'm sure he's still around that team, so I'm sure he's did things with Burrow. Maybe Burrow went. Doesn't Carson Palmer's brother run a QB camp or something? And there's been some high-profile QBs that come out of that camp. Maybe Burrow was in that camp. I don't know. So maybe there's some bias there. But that's the thing about it, right? Like, when you have this bias, like, admit to it. Like, if you're telling me he's more consistent, he's more accountable, and then, like, it took Warren Sharp a matter of hours to pull up stats to say otherwise, that's to me is you should just let her, hey, look, man, former Bengal, still around the team. I really love Carson Palmer. And that little preface right there would have showed us that he's biased in whatever he's about to say. But because he didn't do that, or at least according to this transcript, that was not done, then this just looks like actual fact instead of a biased opinion from a guy that used to play for this franchise and probably is still in and around the franchise and in and around Joe Burrow. Just say, I like Joe Burrow. You don't need to say, I think he's the best quarterback in the league. You can say, I really like Joe Burrow. But that's not going to get you clicks. Carson Palmer says, I really like Joe Burrow. That's not making headlines. But you say, Carson Palmer, Coach Joe Burrow, the best quarterback in the league, everyone's jumping out the window. Boogie down. Joe Burrow's play style is more similar to what Carson was than to what Mahomes is. Carson can see himself in Joe more than Mahomes, so by default, he will always choose QBs who look like Burrow. Certainly, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. You know, Carson, the one time he tried to run, didn't he tear that ACL when he tried to run? It's that when he got hurt? Didn't he get hurt running, or he got sacked in the pocket trying to scramble and he got sacked in the pocket, and that's when the knee went boom? I mean, I'm not gonna shit on Carson Palmer's career, but if we're looking at the numbers here, these numbers aren't that great. These numbers were great for a Cincinnati quarterback. He had that 1 year, 11-5. We had 2 good years in terms of record-wise. Stats-wise, again, these numbers aren't jumping off the page. He led the league in picks 1 year. No, he led the league in touchdowns 1 year, but that was 2005. So 32 touchdowns. So again, that tells you what type of NFL he was in. 32 touchdowns, led the league, led the entire league. Mahomes threw 50 the first year he started. Yeah, we talk about some damn Joe Burrow being better than Patrick Mahomes. What are we doing? What are we doing? And one thing, and I was speaking in comments about Dak, and Thomas is in here, Dak got paid because he was Dallas' best option. And also remember, Dak was on that franchise tag too. Don't forget, Dak was on that franchise tag. And they took advantage of the non-exclusive, and they were able to negotiate a long-term deal. But even Dak was on that tag. It's the one flaw with this website. They don't have contracts. The basketball version does, but not the football version. So where I got to go, Sports Track. Let me come off the screen. But yeah, let's get some more comments up. For me, Dak is okay, but it is like he chokes in the playoffs, and Mike McCarthy looks like he has lost coaching. Well, remember, never forget, and we're talking Cowboys, and I don't see Corey in here, but all right, he's just going to miss out. But never forget, Mike McCarthy lied to get that job. I did an interview with full transparency. My cousin, who's a big Cowboys fan, but he's tapped into some people in and around that team. But this is public knowledge. Mike McCarthy lied in his job interview with Jerry Jones. Let me know if y'all know if y'all know that. I did content around it. It's in the videos tab on the channel, and I think I even did a couple of shorts, YouTube shorts on it. But yeah, Mike McCarthy lied to get the Cowboys job. He exaggerated his knowledge of analytics, and he lied about watching all the teams' plays from the year prior to him arriving in Dallas. He basically lied up and down through his job interview, and he got the job. And he admitted publicly that he lied during his job interview, and he kept his job. How many of you would get away with that? How many of you can go to your job and be like, yo, you know I lied in the interview, right? And you still hold on to that job. And it's not like you admit it to your boss one-on-one, like, yo, you know I was lying like a muff during that interview, bruh. And then y'all might share a little laugh and like, yo, keep that on the low, man. Like, yo, you good, you do the job, that's fine. No. You get on the horn and you announce it to the whole office, the whole department, yo, I lied in my interview. And you don't get reprimanded, you don't get suspended, you don't get fined, you still keep the job. And now, this year, you have play caller responsibilities. I mean, some things just don't change, man. Like, oh, man. It's really problematic. All right, I'm trying to pull up the Dak Prescott salary, because I'm pretty sure he was on that franchise tag prior. We almost 2 hours in. We still rolling. Almost 2 hours in, and we still rolling. Career earnings. Okay, so yes, this is Dak Prescott. See, I see that here at the top. Dak Prescott. Where's that tag? Rookie deal, rookie deal. Boom, here's that tag. 31. Got the tag that year, and then that led to the extension. And they're trying to restructure this money because he saw the Daniel Jones number, and the Daniel Jones number was 4 and 160. And he ain't like that because guess what Dak has? 4 years, 160. And so they're in the midst of restructuring that contract so that he could get more of that money. Because as you see here, there's some funny money here. There's some funny money here. These are bonuses, these are incentives, so on and so forth. So there's still a lot there that could be voided, so on and so forth. He wants more of that money guaranteed and upfront, as opposed to Daniel Jones, who got 4 years, 160, but less than half of that is guaranteed. But they won't tell you that. They'll just keep screaming from the heavens, he got 4 years, 160, he got 40 million. That's not how that works. I know that's how the math works, but when you look at the actual contract, it is not that. It is not 4 years, 160. And even Dak, you see here, out of 160 million, 126 of it is guaranteed. So what's that, 34? There's about 34 million of funny money in this contract. Boogie Down Cowboys fans already hate Dak. Yeah. Not sure where that's coming from. Let's see. I appreciate y'all being active in the chat, man. That really does help me, and it helps me keep this stream going. Yep, I think so. His brother ran a QB camp. Yep. Jordan Palmer, right? I think Jordan is his name. Joshua gives a playoff game against the Steelers. Yep, that was when Carson Palmer got hurt. Yep. Boogie Down. Everyone says Lamar is inaccurate, but Lamar Jackson has a higher completion percentage than a prototypical pocket QB. And he switched it up. He said Carson Wentz here, but he meant Carson Palmer. We can keep it. He has a higher completion percentage than another running QB, Josh Allen. Has a better completion percentage. But Josh Allen was able to get his extension and get, he got 150 guaranteed. A lot of funny money, but, he got his extension. Alex, only because it is the Cowboys and Jerry Jones. Sure. But he went and got the deal done. The bottom line is he went and got the deal done. Like, they had Dak on that tag, and then once they figured it out, they went and got him that extension. Even though, as you see here in the extension, there's about, 34 mil of funny money in it. Let's see. Boogie Down going in on Carson Palmer. Mind you, Carson Palmer has played with Ocho Cinco and Larry Fitzgerald, some of the best hands in NFL history. Yeah, don't forget TJ Houshmandzadeh. They had a lot of dudes there in Cincy. Then he went to Arizona and had some dudes. Like, yeah, another guy that's been surrounded with weapons. Just ridiculous. Josh, when people wonder why certain teams go nowhere. Yeah, they just don't. If you're not going to give your quarterback help, how can you expect your QB to be effective? How? His job is to throw the ball. If he has no one to throw the ball to, then how the hell is he supposed to do his job? The Ravens should be thankful Lamar Jackson could run. Imagine if Lamar couldn't run. How the hell would he have won that MVP? Throwing to the likes of Willie Snead. Remember the year when Terrell Owens played with Chad Johnson and Carson Palmer? Yeah, I remember that. I don't remember it working that well. It worked well in Madden, but not in real life. Good time to get Jordan. I think, okay, yep. Thank you for that. Dak just doesn't have it because with all the talent Dallas has around him, he should have a ring. I think the problem in Dallas has been more the defense than the offense, to keep it a buck with you, at least during Dak's tenure. I think that narrative could have been more spit when it was Romo, in my opinion. But I don't think Dak has been the issue in Dallas. Now, he's been hurt. You know what I'm saying? So, again, another guy that's been hurt. A good deal. But, these guys are able to cash out. Certain other QBs, no such luck. Well, that certainly took us a long way. We crossed the 2-hour mark off the back of Odell Beckham to the Ravens. What the hell does that mean? Is that enough help for Lamar? For those who are new and pulling up, we've been talking a lot about the Ravens and Odell Beckham signing with the Ravens. What does it all mean? Is there another move here? Is this a signal that, Lamar Jackson is going to sign a long-term deal? I think it is not. I think it's actually more of an indication that Lamar is going to end up being like Kirk Cousins and having to do the franchise tag for 2 years and then being an unrestricted free agent, and then he could go get his bag. I think that's what it has meant to me. But OBJ to the Ravens should be a good thing for them. But in terms of, is it enough? No, it is not enough. There's still more work to be done if I'm the Ravens. If we're to listen to these reports in regards to, whether or not the draft has a lot of top-tier wide receiver talent, I don't know if I buy that. I think there's more than just Jackson Smith and Jigba in the first round. I think when you're looking at Quentin Johnston and Jordan Addison, I'm more of a Quentin Johnston guy myself, but Jordan Addison can do some things as well, especially when you're looking at it from a speed perspective. 40 time be damned. I think that there's some things there. I think there's something there that you can put him in the mix and, probably can be able to be successful in the right system. So be able to get that off. And now we see on FaceTime, OBJ and Lamar, and they hit live on Sunday in South Beach. Maybe they'll do King of Diamonds tonight. Who knows? If you know, you know. And then we talked about Lamar Jackson versus Kirk Cousins. Because if you look at let's see, where is it? Here we go. Lamar Jackson in the contracts with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has found a way to get fully guaranteed money ever since he was on the franchise tag. The minute he went on the franchise tag, he has never not gotten, and I know that's a double negative, but he has never not gotten fully guaranteed money. And then when you compare the numbers, and there's that EPA again, like with Mahomes and Burrow, there's that EPA again. Both of them are not that great, to be quite honest, but they had the same success rate in that. Lamar's stats are equal, if not better, than Kirk in a lot of major categories. Yet and still, Kirk Cousins gets to go to the crib with only $2 million in funny money. 8 years, 1 playoff win. 8 years, only $2 million of his 231 that was earned has not been fully guaranteed. And now the latest topic that we just kind of, I wasn't even sure if I was going to bring it up today because I didn't know if we was going to have time depending on, how the chat was acting. But now we got Carson Palmer jumping out the window saying that Joe Burrow is better than Patrick Mahomes. Is he just saying this to get some clicks? Is he just saying this because he's a former Bengal? What's the motivation here for jumping out the window and saying things that just don't make sense? Mentally strong, physically tough, accurate, can throw it far enough, fast enough, gets the ball out quick, and then he can actually do a lot with his legs. These are reasons that he is saying Joe is better. Joe does not have a weakness. Mentally strong, physically tough, accurate, can throw it far enough, fast enough, gets the ball out quick, and then he can actually do a lot with his legs. So what is it called when Joe Burrow does a lot with his legs in comparison to someone just saying, I'm just going to do it with my feet? So when Mahomes does it, he's just doing stuff with his feet. When Burrow does it, he can do a lot with his legs. Y'all peep this or I'm reaching? Y'all let me know if I'm reaching. When Mahomes does it, he's just doing stuff with his feet. When Burrow does it, he actually can do a lot with his legs. I don't make this stuff up, man. I read this stuff to y'all, and I'm glad that y'all are smart enough to pick up on this stuff. Because I always knew I'm not the only one that reads this stuff and is like, well, wait a minute. Boogie down. I think T.O. was at the end of his career when he went to Cincy, though. Yes, that's true. That was at the end. Thomas pulling up. He still couldn't win a playoff game, though, with those great receivers. Yeah, stacked with talent. Stacked with talent. And at that position, at the wide receiver position especially. Joshua, part of me wishes that Marvin Lewis coached the Ravens. He would take the job if offered. You know that. He would definitely spin the block. I don't know if I think anything that goes back to them old Ravens, I think all them dudes, I think they can work in the organization, but they're not getting big time jobs anymore. I mean, if they found a way to push Ozzie upstairs, I mean, how do you push the guy that drafted Ray Lewis and Jonathan Ogden in the same draft? How do you push him upstairs? Alex, Dak and Kirk Cousins actually have some similar numbers. I'm not surprised. So how come Dak can't get fully guaranteed money? Because we know Jerry would never. That's where Kirk Cousins found an owner that was desperate enough to want to upgrade or seemingly upgrade at the QB position and was willing to pay fully guaranteed contracts so that was unprecedented up until that point. Dak Prescott could go out here and put up Mahomes numbers, like Mahomes 50-plus touchdowns, whatever numbers, and I don't think Jerry Jones would pay him fully guaranteed money. I don't think there's a stat line possible for Jerry Jones to pay Dak Prescott fully guaranteed money. But now if Dak went out there in the open market, he might find a sucker. But being the QB of the Cowboys and being the QB of another franchise, that's two totally different things. Book it down. Zay Flowers equals Hollywood 2.0. I don't know if that's good or bad. I'm not sure if that's even good. Like, it sounds good, but I don't know if I believe it. Alex, Jerry would never do that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, Jerry would never do that. I'm telling you, Dak Prescott could go out there and give you a Mahomes-like stat line for 3 years in a row. He could give you 50 TDs and what was that stat line Mahomes had? 50 TDs and like 6 picks or some crazy nonsense like that. What was it? Let me see. Patrick. No, I do not want to join. Good Lord. 50 TDs or 12 picks. He could do this for 3 years in a row and come up, and Jerry would still hit him with a funny money, incentive lace contract. Still. He could do this for 3 years in a row. 5K passing yards, 50 TDs against 12 picks. He could do all of this. And it would never. I can't believe it. We're really out here talking Zay Flowers. Here's the problem. Number one right there. Unless you know something about that 40 time that I don't. 4.42 at 5'9". I don't see it. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm fully up to speed on him. But let's see. Slippery as overfield runner. Yeah, I don't know. Weaknesses: shorter arms, his smaller hands. Routes need better salesmanship and attention to detail. Needs to do a better job of finding optimal holes in zone coverage. Might lack play strength to win contested catches as a pro. Teams might have to live with more drops than they would like to see. That's the last thing the Ravens need. Teams might have to live with more drops than they would like to see. That's the last thing Ravens need, man. I'm sorry. Sorry, Zay. Unless he's a late round pick. If you're telling me 4th, 5th round or something, maybe, but I wouldn't waste no high draft collateral on that. Let's see what we got here. All right, so do we have time? Yeah, we have time. We have time for Rudy Gobert. But let me make sure we have all that set up because there's some videos. I don't want no issues. But there is something that happened yesterday. Rudy Gobert fought his teammate on the bench. He fought Kyle Anderson, a.k.a. Slow-Mo, on the bench. And there's video of it. There's a few angles of it, but there's a lot of angles here to it. So the bottom line is that Rudy Gobert punched his teammate, and here's the aftermath. And when you read this, you're going to understand Woj did not type this out himself. Woj did not type this out. This is not a thought, a sentence constructed in Woj's brain. This is straight from Rudy Gobert's agent. That's the source. I'm not going to put my reputation on it, but I'm just going to let you know that if you read this, the Timberwolves had to suspend Gobert for throwing a punch, but accepted that it was a shot to chest with no intent to injure Kyle Anderson, and understood that Anderson called Gobert a, quote, bitch repeatedly on a night Gobert was playing hurt. Sources tell the 4-letter network. Does that sound like an original thought from Adrian Wojnarowski? Because to me, that does not sound like one. That sounds like this is Gobert's agent spinning the narrative, and Wojnarowski, a.k.a. Woj, Mr. Woj Bomb, that's not really Woj Bombs, but that's another stream for another day, putting it out here for us to digest. Appreciate you, Alex. Thanks for pulling up. Jalen Hyatt, I am not up to speed. Bring us up to speed, and I'll add him to the list. I have a list of players that y'all have mentioned, and I'm going to do a deep dive and really get into the weeds, on a lot of these players. So where do you think he'll go, Joshua? What round, what system do you think he fits best in, so on and so forth, and then I'll put him on my list. So here's the thing with, now we'll get to Luka in a second. This trade for Rudy Gobert, as you see, he's gonna serve a 1-game suspension. He isn't traveling with the team. It won't play against the Lakers in the play-in, right? So you see that. That's a result of the fight. He punched his teammate. They sent him home. Slow-Mo Anderson said, grab some rebounds or block some shots. There was some back and forth discourse, whatever the case may be. So there's a lot there. But the bottom line is this trade. And please, if you want to keep talking football, go ahead and keep talking about it in the chat, and we can always spin the block. But I just want to get it in for my NBA people this Rudy Gobert stuff. So Timberwolves traded for Rudy Gobert and gave up all of this in return. Malik Beasley, Pat Bev, Leandro Balmo, Walker Kessler, who was killing it for the Jazz towards the end of the season, Jared Vanderbilt, who later got flipped to the Lake Show, 4 first-round picks, and 1 first-round pick swap. Good Lord. Oh, the Volunteers receiver. Okay, yes. I do remember him. I do remember Jalen Hyatt. All right, so let me, you know what? I'll stick with y'all. Let's get Jalen Hyatt up. Let's see. We're taking this all from the 4-letter network, or the 3-letter network in this case. Okay. He's got some good height on him. 4.4 speed, even though the 40-yard dash is sometimes a misnomer. It's not always a thing there. Like, the 4.4, that's just in shorts and your underwear, bro. Like 4.4 doesn't always equate to game speed, but it is an impressive number. NFL comparison, Deshaun Jackson. Deshaun Jackson ain't running no 4.4. So I hope there's more here that lets me know why the NFL comparison is Deshaun Jackson. Long, slender wideout with deep speed. That's definitely not Deshaun Jackson, but okay. Hyatt is an instantly credible wide receiver 2 with the ability to make a huge impact, but production could be erratic due to limitations of his game. He does display inconsistency on contested catches. He might be the best with a limited route tree full of slants, crosses, and a series of field stretching patterns. Okay, so he's not that great at running routes is what I'm seeing here. Weakness, scheme created a variety of free releases for him. Is he a system receiver? Route tree somewhat limited. Lean frame lacking in play strength. Knocked off course when press punch finds him, so he can't get off the jam. Lacks deception in his short and intermediate routes. Unsuccessful holding ground when catch is contested. Interesting. I see Thomas here. Bama knows him. Okay. So he's a Vols receiver. Got you. Late first round. Josh was saying he could be a late first round pick or second round pick. Okay. Well, there's been a lot of discussion about wide receivers, and they're saying there's only Smith and Jigba is going to be a first round receiver. So who the hell knows? I just wish we could just get this draft over with, just so we could find out who was right and who was wrong. I feel like a lot of these guys are going to be wrong. Sources tell us, oh boy, be careful here, but let's just read it. When you have someone who can run like Hyatt, you get explosive catches, but it also really benefits your running game because safeties can't get involved as much. He reminds me a lot of watching Will Fuller when he was healthy. So Will Fuller and Deshaun Jackson are the comps. Now let's see, where does this mock draft have him going? What was the name, Jalen? Let's see, Control F or Command F. Let's see, did we spell the name right? Oh, okay. Let's see. Yeah, they have him going second round. And you have Zay going second round as well. Okay. I'll start to do I'll add those two to my list. Interesting. Okay. I will definitely keep an eye on that. Let's see where we at here. Okay. You know what? We'll stick with NFL today. Although there was some tea that I have here. There are some playing stuff. I'll probably save that from a podcast. I'll do a podcast, the CMD podcast. You can find a link for that in the description. I'm going to do an NBA, playoff preview, play-in and playoff preview. So I'll probably get into the Rudy Gobert stuff there. So we would go so strong with the NFL. We'll just keep it NFL to finish out the stream. I'll be here for another, let's do a clean 2.5 hours today. So about another 8 minutes. So whatever y'all want to get into, let me hit the timeline real quick to see if there's any new information that's hit the timeline since we've been on this stream. Okay, here we go. Odell Beckham joined the Ravens with a, quote, clear understanding that Lamar Jackson will be his QB in 2023 per Ian Rappaport. You see that? Lamar recruited Odell Beckham. I mean, Lamar's tried to recruit Odell Beckham prior, but okay. Clear understanding that Lamar Jackson will be his QB. Yeah, man, he going to take that tag, bro. I'm pretty locked in that he's going to take that tag. I think ultimately that's where we stand with that. Joshua, I heard he put on some muscle. The good thing about the wide receiver class this year is that the Ravens could have their pick of receivers. Yeah, if they decide to do it at 22, they can. Joshua, do you think they go a wide receiver at 22? Because to me, I think if the only one off the board at that point is Smith and Jigba at 22, yeah, you could take whoever you want. I don't know if I would trade down. I think you hold at 22 and take who you want. But where's their second round pick? They don't have a second round pick. But didn't we look over this the other day? So they don't have another pick for a minute after that 22. Yeah, 22 to 86. Yeah. So to me, they have to take one at 22. Because if you're going to wait to 86, unless you plan on moving back into the second round, I don't know how you get that off. I am unaware of how you get that off. If they are serious, why not? As long as it is not defense. Yeah, I agree. They have to improve this offense, and this is why you have these picks. And, you know, I don't think they should go running back, even if Bijan is there. Y'all know I've been high on Bijan. But, yeah, I think receiver, hell, I wouldn't even be mad. Where's Myers, that tight end? I mean, you pair him with Mark Andrews, like, there's something there, too. Like, there's ways you could be dynamic. Like, you see the Lions here potentially taking Meyer from Notre Dame. I know Corey, he's not here, but he's big on Meyer. But yeah, like there's you have to upgrade the weapons. If it's not Quentin Johnson or Jordan Addison, you don't have second round picks, so you can't even get in the mix for Zay Flowers or Jalen Hyatt. You know, you don't have the collateral unless you trade, you know, wage something to get into that second round. So, yeah, they're going to have to figure that out. Let's see. We missing any T? I think we're okay. Mac Jones has lost support within the Patriots building. Nothing new there. Shaq Lawson resigns with the Bills. Oh, really, Josh? You would take B? So you wouldn't mind loading up even at running back? Okay. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. I think Bijan is now, if you add Bijan to that mix, Odell will give Bateman another year, Lamar, Mark Andrews, and then Bijan. But see, the problem I think with Bijan is he's a 3-down back. And y'all got what's the man's name? I'm blanking on him right now. Where is he? Picked him up in fantasy late. Yeah. I got JK. Even with JK, you would still take Bijan? Well, we're assuming a fully healed JK. Rob Gronkowski says he's officially done with the NFL and won't unretire again. All right, we got that. Nope, move past that. Nope, too many videos here. Yeah, former offensive lineman, and they're dropping a lot of pounds. The Hendon Hooker thing is still a thing. Yeah, I think we're good there. Yeah, it's nothing new that has dropped on the timeline. Let me just check a couple more pages just to make sure we can wrap this bad boy up and y'all can start y'all Monday evening. Yeah, we'll go about another 2-3 minutes. With our running backs with questionable health and them being free agents, yes. Okay, I respect it. I think Bijan's dynamic, so I wouldn't be mad at that at all if that's what ended up happening. Yeah, I think we're good here. There's not that much else on the timeline. Trying to make sure I don't miss anything. Nothing new on the Jets and Aaron Rodgers. You know, it's looking more and more like that deal's going to be a draft day deal. Let's see. Yeah, that's about it for that. Okay. So we're going to wrap off of that. Y'all have been great today in the chat. Y'all helped push the stream to 2.5 hours, something I was not sure if we were going to make today, but I appreciate y'all for that. Y'all have done a great job. Thank you for the new subscribers. If you're new here, whether live on a replay, definitely tap in. This is the type of content we are doing. But off the back of the chat, you guys keep me informed. You guys help the stream keep going, so on and so forth. And I'm really appreciative of everyone who taps in, even if it's for a few minutes. Even if you come in, drop a couple comments and then bounce, whether you catch the replay. Very appreciative of it. Joshua, if Lamar stays, we need to take the weight off him, regardless he has a weapon. Yeah, that's the thing. Maximize his strengths. Don't just wear him out. Maximize his strengths. Appreciate you, Josh. Thank you for pulling up. Thank you for holding it down to the very end. All right. So on that note, I will bid y'all adieu. Thank you to everyone in the chat. I'll be back here again tomorrow, 4 o'clock Eastern time. Pull up whenever you can. If you subscribe, turn on the bell so you know when we go live. But it's usually 4, sometimes a few minutes if I need to really get the windows lined up, if there's some fresh tea coming down the timeline. But thank y'all so much, man. Appreciate the growth of this channel. We're going to try to keep that going onwards and upwards into the future. For Timeline T, I am the Sam D, a.k.a. Sam Dusme Jr. I'll catch y'all tomorrow. Peace.